My name is Sarah. I am 32 years old. I met David, my husband, when I was still in college. He was confident, funny, and respectful. Many other guys only cared about my appearances, but David was different. He encouraged me when I struggled, and he stood by me. When my father became seriously ill during my final year in school, David stayed by my side through everything. That was when I truly fell in love with him. I dated David for 3 years. We rarely fought. Whenever disagreements happened, we always found a way to solve them. Everyone around us admired our relationship. My mother often told me how lucky I was to have David in my life. Even my father trusted him so much. So when David proposed to me a few years later, I did not hesitate. I said yes immediately. The following year, we got married. The wedding was so beautiful. Family members traveled from different cities to attend our wedding. On that wedding day, I thought I was walking toward a lifetime of happiness. For the first few years, everything seemed perfect. We rented a small apartment and money was coming in. David had a growing career in sales, while I work as an administrative assistant in a private company. Life wasn't luxurious, but we were very happy. Every evening we had dinner together, we do a lot of things together. As the year passed, our situation improved. David received promotion and I also got a paying job. Eventually, we bought a house and everything was going fine. What I didn't know was that while we were building one life together, David was secretly building another one somewhere else. The first sign that something was wrong appeared years later. At first, it seemed harmless. David began traveling more frequently for work. His company was expanding and he often needed to meet clients in other states. I trusted David completely. Whenever he told me he wanted to travel, I never questioned him. Why would I? He was my husband and I loved him so much. Then one Friday evening, everything started to change. David told me he needed to attend a business conference in another city. The trip would last 3 days. Nothing about the conversation seemed unusual. The next morning, I helped David to pack his luggages. I kissed him goodbye before he left. Then I spent the rest of my day cleaning the kitchen. That evening, while preparing dinner, my phone suddenly vibrated. I glanced at the screen. The number wasn't saved in my contacts. I opened the message. The word I saw instantly made my heart stop. Your husband is not where he told you he would be. I stared at the screen. For several seconds, I couldn't move. Then another message arrived. If you want to know the truth, start paying attention. I read both messages over and over again. At first, I thought someone was playing a joke on me, but deep inside, his fake feeling began to grow, a feeling that I couldn't explain, a feeling that something was terribly wrong. That night, I barely slept, and for the first time since marrying David, I found myself wondering if truly I knew David, because I have trusted him with my heart. The next morning, I woke up exhausted. I had barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those messages again. Your husband is not where he told you he would be. I kept telling myself there had to be a simple explanation. Maybe someone had the wrong number. Maybe it was a prank, or maybe it was someone trying to cause trouble in my marriage. But no matter how hard I tried to dismiss it, the uneasy feeling remained. After making breakfast that morning, I decided to call David. He answered after second ring. Good morning, baby, he said cheerfully. His voice sounded normal, calm and relaxed. exactly the way it's always sounded. For a moment, I almost felt silly for worrying. I asked him how is the conference and he replied me that the conference is going well. He said they had a meeting earlier that morning. Then I asked him which hotel are you staying in again. Without hesitation, he gave me the name. The answer came so quickly and it sounded believable. We spoke for a few more minutes before ending the call. For a while, I felt better. Then I remembered the message. My curiosity got better of me. I searched for the name of the hotel online. A few minutes later, I decided to call the front desk of that hotel. The receptionist answered politely. I explained that I was trying to confirm a reservation for my husband, so she asked me to hold on. My heart pounded as I waited, and nearly a minute later, she returned the call. I am sorry, ma. We don't have anyone registered under that name. I asked her, could you check again, please? She did, and the answer was still no reservation, no guest, nothing. After ending the call, I sat silently on the couch. I didn't know what to think. Maybe he used another name. I spent the rest of my day trying to convince myself that everything was fine. But the doubt had already entered my heart. When David returned 2 days later, he acted exactly the husband I always known. He kissed my forehead. He handed me a small gift from his trip. I forced myself to smile back at him. But something had changed. For the first time, I found myself studying his face, looking for signs, looking for answers, looking for truth. The following week passed quietly. Life seemed normal. David went back to work. I also went back to work. We had dinner together every evening. If there was a secret, he hid it well, so I decided to forget about everything that had happened recently. Then one evening, something happened that changed everything. David was taking a shower upstairs. His phones were charging on the kitchen counter. I was washing dishes when the screen suddenly lights up. I wasn't trying to spy. In fact, I had never gone through his phone before. Never. Trust had never been a problem between us. But the bright screen caught my attention, and I decided to check. At first, I only glanced at it. Then my eyes froze on the word, "The kids miss you already." My heart skipped a beat. The message remained visible for several seconds. I read it again. "The kids miss you already." I stood there staring, confused, shocked, terrified. David and I didn't have children. Who was talking about kids? The sender's contact name was saved as Mike. I had never heard David mention anyone named Mike with children. Before I could think further, another message appeared. "Joshua cried after you left." That was what the message said. My hands began shaking. Who was Joshua? Why was someone telling my husband that a little boy cried because he left? I heard the bathroom door opened upstairs. Panic rushed through me. I quickly looked away from the phone and continued washing my dishes. A few moments later, David walked into the kitchen. He smiled at me, the same smile I had trusted for years. Then he picked up his phone. As he read the message, something unusual happened. For the first moment, his expression changed. It happened so quickly that most people would have missed it, but I didn't. I saw it, a flash of nervousness, a flash of concern, then it disappeared. He placed the phone face down on the counter. "Is everything okay?" I asked him. "Of course," he replied. His answer came too quickly. That night, while David slept beside me, I stared at the ceiling. Questions filled my mind. Who was Mike? Who were the kids? And who was Joshua? And why did my husband look nervous after reading those messages? The next morning, I made a decision. For years, I had trusted David without question, but trust was no longer enough. I needed answers. And for the first time in our marriage, I was prepared to look for them. What I didn't know was that the truth waiting for me was far worse than anything I could imagine. For the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about those messages. Every time I look at David, questions filled my mind. Who were the children? Who was Joshua? And why did he seem nervous when he read those texts? I wanted to confront him immediately. I wanted to demand answers, but something told me to wait. If David was hiding something, confronting him too soon would only give him a chance to create another lies. I needed proof. I mean real proof. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. The following Thursday, David called me during lunch. "Baby, I'll be working late tonight," he said. "We have an important client meeting." Normally, I would have accepted his explanation without question. But this time, I simply replied, "Okay." The moment the call ended, I made up my mind I was going to follow David. The entire day I felt nervous. Part of me hoped I would discover nothing. Part of me prayed I was overthinking everything. After work, I drove to David's office and parked around the street. About 30 minutes later, I saw him walk out of the building. He got into his car and drove away. I waited a few seconds before following him. My heart pounded the entire time. At every traffic light, I worried he would notice me. At every turn, I questioned whether I should continue or go back home. But I kept driving. After nearly 40 minutes, David left the busy city roads and entered a quiet residential area. The neighborhood looked peaceful. Large trees lined in the streets. Then David slowed down and parked in front of a blue-story building. I parked somewhere close to that two-story building house. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then the front door of that building opened. A woman stepped outside. She looked to be around my age. She was wearing casual clothes and smiling. The moment she saw David, her face lit up. Then something happened that made my chest tighten. She walked directly to him and hugged David. Not the way a friend hugs a friend, not the way a neighbor greets someone. It was the kind of hug that belonged to people who loved each other. I felt sick. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. I kept watching. A few seconds later, two children ran out of the house, a little boy and a little girl. The little girl couldn't have been older than 6. The boy looked around 8. They rushed toward David with excitement. "Daddy!" Even from where I sat, I could hear them. "Daddy!" The word echoed inside my head. I watched as David bent down and opened his arm. The children hugged him tightly. Then he lifted the little girl into his arm and kissed her forehead. The woman smiled as she watched them. The scene looked so natural, so comfortable, so familiar, like they had done it hundreds of times before. Tears filled my eyes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The man I had been married to for years was standing in front of another house with another woman and two children calling him daddy. My hands were shaking so badly that I almost dropped my phone. I wanted to drive away. I wanted to pretend I had never seen any of it, but I couldn't. I needed to know more. For nearly an hour, I sat there watching. Eventually, they all went inside the house. The curtain remained open. From my car, I could see part of the living room. I watched David sit on the couch with the children. I watched them laugh together. I watched them eat dinner together like family, a real family. The kind of family I thought I had with David. That evening, the pain was so unbearable. Tears streamed down my face. I felt like my entire life was falling apart. For years, I had trusted him. I had trusted his man completely. For years, I had defended him whenever people questioned his frequent travels. For years, I had believed every excuse he gave me. And now I was watching him live a second life, a life he had hidden from me, a life that included another woman and 2 children. Eventually, it became dark. I couldn't stay there any longer. I started my car and drove home. The entire journey felt like a blur. I barely remembered the road. I barely noticed the traffic. My mind kept replaying the same image. The little girl running into David's arm, calling daddy. When I finally arrived at home, I sat alone in the living room. The house felt different. Everything felt different. The photos on the wall, the wedding pictures, the memories. Suddenly, none of them felt real anymore. Around 10 o'clock at night, David walked through the front door. He looked tired. He pretended to. Then he kissed my forehead, the same forehead he had kissed before going to another woman's house. I felt disgusted, but I forced myself to remain calm. I wasn't ready to reveal what I knew. Not yet. Because one question still haunted me. Who exactly was that woman, and did she know about me? That night, as David slept peacefully beside me, I stared into the darkness. The truth was finally beginning to appear, but I had a feeling that the worst part was still ahead of me. The next morning, I woke up feeling empty. For years, David had been the first person I wanted to see when I opened my eyes. But now I could barely look at him. Yet he acted completely normal. He kissed me goodbye before leaving for work. He told me to have a wonderful day. Then he walked out the door as if he wasn't destroying my life with every lie he told me. The moment he left, I broke down. I cried harder than I ever had before. Not because I had lost him, but because I realized I had never truly known him. The man I loved and the man I had seen at that blue house were 2 different people. Or maybe they were the same person, but I had simply been blind. After calming myself down, I made a decision. I needed answers. No assumptions, no guesses. I needed answers. That afternoon, I took a day off and drove back to the neighborhood where I had followed David. I parked a few hours away from the blue house. For nearly an hour, I sat there, watching, waiting. Eventually, the front door opened. The woman stepped outside. She was alone. My heart began racing. That was my chance. I got out of my car and slowly walked towards her. The closer I got, the more nervous I became. What if she already knew about me? What if she was helping David deceive me? What if she refused to talk? Before I could change my mind, I reached her gate. She noticed me immediately. "Can I help you?" she asked politely. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Then I forced my words out. "Are you Linda?" She looked surprised. She said yes. Then I told her, "My name is Sarah." She waited patiently. Clearly, she had no idea who I was. The next word nearly broke me. I told her, "I am David's wife." The smile disappeared from her face. She had no idea who I was. The next word nearly broke me. I told her I'm David's wife. And the smile on her face disappeared. "I am sorry, I think you have made a mistake." "No," I replied her quietly. "I haven't." For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then I pulled out my phone. I showed her a photo from my wedding day. David and I standing together, smiling and holding hands. She stared at the photo, then she stared at me. Her hands began shaking. "What is this?" she whispered. I felt tears filling my eye. Suddenly, she grabbed the gates for support. No. The word barely came out. No, that's impossible. But deep down, she already knew. I could see it in her eyes. Everything was beginning to make sense to her. For nearly 10 minutes, we stood there talking. Both of us were in shock. At some point, neither invited me inside. I saw some pictures on the wall, their birthday parties, family vacation, Christmas celebration, and school events. In every picture, I saw David looked happy, like he belonged there. After discussing for a while, I left Linda's house. As I left Linda's house that afternoon, one thing became clearer. I still don't know the full truth, but I knew enough to understand that David's deception was far bigger than I had ever imagined. And soon, I would discover that his betrayal wasn't only about another woman. It involved something else also, something that would threaten everything I had worked for. When I finally got home, the house felt strange. Every room reminded me of David. Every picture on the wall felt like a lie. I looked at our wedding photo and I felt nothing. The trust that once filled my heart was gone. That evening, David came home as usual. He walked through the front door carrying takeaway food. He smiled at me. The same smile that had fooled me for years. "Hey baby," he said. I looked at him quietly. Then I placed my phone on the table. On the screen was a photo of him standing with Linda and the children. His face changed immediately. Then the smile on his face disappeared. The room became silent. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he slowly sat down. "I can explain," he finally said. I laughed at him. Not because anything was funny. I had had enough lies. "No," I replied. "You have explained enough for the last 8 years." David lowered his head. He admitted I had been involved with Linda before marrying me. When she was pregnant, he panicked. Instead of choosing one lie, we tried to keep both. He lied to Linda and he also lied to me. And somehow, he managed to keep the deception alive for years. According to him, he never planned for things to get this far, but every year he chose to continue. For the first time, I accepted the truth. The marriage I thought I had never existed. It was built on deception from the very beginning. A few days later, I moved out. I stayed with my sister while I started the divorce process. The following months were very difficult for me. There were painful conversations, legal meetings, family discussion, and so on. But slowly, life moved forward. Linda also ended her relationship with David. She was devastated like me. 1 year later, my divorce was finalized. The day I signed the final documents, I expected to feel heartbroken, but instead I felt free. For years, I had been holding on to a marriage that only existed in my imagination. Now, I was finally letting go. Today, when people hear my story, they often ask if I hate David. The answer is no. Hate requires energy, and he no longer deserves any of mine. What I feel is acceptance. I accept that some people are not who they pretend to be. I accept that love alone is not enough to sustain a relationship. And most importantly, I accept that someone else's betrayal is not a reflection of my worth. David broke my heart, but he did not break me. He lied, he deceived, and he betrayed me. But in the end, I survived. I rebuilt my life, I found peace, and I learned the most important lesson of my life. The right person will never require you to sacrifice your dignity in order to keep their love. Sometimes the end of a marriage is not the end of your story. Sometimes it is the beginning of a better one. This is the end of my story. Do you think Sarah made the right decision by leaving David? Or should she have given him another chance? Let me know in the comment section.